there's going to be a stress test coming up in about a week, so I think you got about a week before it's open to lots and lots of people. It is currently free to play, although it's hard to do a whole lot when you're free to play for long, because it's the resources are very, very slow to accumulate. Okay, but we're going to draft now, so I am going to start with, let me just add you to the title of this legend, just so people know you're here.
Cool.
Drafting with legend. Oh man, and where do you put the in your name? Legend VD. Okay. What does that stand for, out of curiosity?
The LV and the D are my initials from my real name.
Gotcha.
And legend was kind of my gamer tag, so.
Cool. Okay, so we're doing quick draft. I would love to be playing M19 right now, but I can't afford it as a player who's playing free to play. Like, the fucking buy-in's ridiculous, and I'm not sure my win rate's good enough for it.
Pretty expensive.
Yep. So we'll throw into this. Here we go. We just went 7 in our last draft. We had a really nice one, nice. 7 and 1. But the two before that were 2 and 3 and 3 and 3. So I'm not convinced that was anything to do with us and more luck of the draw. So that seems pretty clear. You cast a card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. That seems pretty insane. This card has been good for us. This card is quite good as well. This is a destroy tap creature with a revolt function on it. Caught in the Brights is good. There's a bunch of mediocre and kind of solid, like this is a solid creature, this is an okay creature, this is a decent creature. All this stuff seems like a pretty damn good pack, but I see the bombs as either the, this thing seems insane to me. I've never played with it and never seen it though, so I don't know. At sorcery speed, it might not be amazing, but it does feel like I get to remove probably 2 creatures if they have board control and I don't, and then get a creature afterwards, which seems like a really big swing. This guy just seems like a very solid white card, and white black in particular seems really solid in this set. There's a couple of those, there's a couple bomb cards in both of those colors that seem insane. This guy seems okay, but not amazing to me. Although he's a strong flyer for 4 with a nice ability, he just doesn't seem to single-handedly win games, although he puts out a lot of pressure. And I could see that single-handedly winning a game, and this is just solid removal. What do you see when you look at this pack, Legend?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all you've said. I will probably take the expertise just because it can bail you out of certain situations where other cards might not.
Okay.
And people are not going to play around it since it's a rare. So,
okay.
If especially in this best out of 1 where you're not playing sideboard games, you're just going to get so many people with it that I think it's worth it.
Okay. That was a great answer, and I want to offer this not as a criticism what you just said, but just as kind of a reminder. If you see things that I'm missing, or just think of like, if you're like, oh, there's another side of that you didn't consider, please feel free to just like shout it out, because that's what I'm asking for here. So cool.
Yep.
All right, let's grab the Yahini's Expertise. Okay, I don't know what this card does. What does it do? Properties you control gain hexproof and indestructible to end of turn. That's a pretty strong combat trick. What do the rest of these things do? That creates copters when you have artifacts in play. Kind of a mediocre 3/1, mediocre 2/3. Renegade Map's a mana fixer. That's okay. Not a ramp though, just mana fixer. What does this thing do? When service gadget enters the battlefield or put in the graveyard, create a 1/1 colorless servo token. Doesn't seem that good. All right, I look at this and I don't see a lot of exciting things. This seems strong, but I'm not sure if it's worth the second pick.
This pack is quite weak. The intervention's like a medium trick, since mostly when looking at tricks you want to increase your creature's power and toughness, since that way you get to kill bigger stuff, and intervention's purely a defensive measure.
Okay.
So it's not that amazing as a trick.
It feels like you might be able to force damage through in a way that you wouldn't be able to with that, because the indestructible portion of this, it feels like, you know, if a board is semi-locked or, you know, they have a couple blockers you're going to be trading heavily to force damage through, you might be able to put damage through with that.
Yeah, that's true.
What would you, so okay, so this is the part where I get lost. So I'm better at, I can individually evaluate a card, okay, right? We're but it's now thinking, I mean, and we have one card, we don't have a deck to really put it in context with yet.
Exactly.
But in the future, that will be an issue that I will struggle with repeatedly, is being like, how does this deck fit with the rest of our deck here? And also picking colors early is still a struggle for me, because here I have no idea what to pick. I think I would pick the map, because I'm like, everything else is bad, and this might fix something later. I could also be talked into just a random creature that was okay. If I had to pick a creature from these, I'd probably pick the leopard for the 2/3 for 2, or for 3 rather, but it's not very exciting to me, and I'm not a huge fan of green in this format. So I don't know. I don't know what I'd pick here.
Yeah, like in general, my philosophy for the first couple of packs is just to try and take the most powerful cards without looking too much at the cards you've already drafted. Of course, it does influence your decisions somewhat, since if you have a great black card and you see a good black card and a slightly better red card, you might still go for the black card instead.
Okay.
But since there's no amazing black card, I mean, Penholler's fine, but you can get those pretty late usually.
Yeah.
I would just try and take the best card in the pack, but with this pack, it's actually not clear what the best card is.
Yeah, I'm very confused
Since
as to what the
power
best card
level's
is.
so low.
Yeah.
So you could go either way here. You could take the leopard if you like green. Leaving the dust is like okay, but not amazing. You could take the map if you like building revolt decks.
Yeah.
Those are the main considerations.
I think I would grab the map personally.
Yeah, I mean, some people like going all in on auras and would take the siege modification here, but I usually try to stay away from auras since I'm kind of risk averse in that way.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of ways to remove in this particular quick draft, and I'm always scared of auras, and particularly scared of auras with a lot of removal running around.
Yep.
So okay, I'm gonna grab the map. Okay, Secret Salvage is like a bad tutor thing. I don't really like it. This card is really strong because it's just a 2/1 that has an upside that often triggers. So I don't mind it, but I don't know if it's worth picking so early. This is a shitty combat trick. This is a fairly shitty creature. Shitty combat trick, shitty creature. Well, this is a decent combat trick, but green. Another map. The mobile garrison is quite solid here. I guess I would look at this and see the mobile garrison and the restoration specialist, but not be too excited about either. And I'd probably pick this for colorless so early, but I could be talked out of it.
Yep, I would agree with those assessments. Again, yeah, garrison being colorless is nice this early. It's like on power level, the garrison's not super amazing, but I mean, you'll often end up playing it. And the specialist has some pretty high upside if you can kind of build around it in a way.
Chat points out a second map. Is that at all appealing to you? I wouldn't have even seen it as an option because it seems so unappealing to me.
Yeah, map. I mean, map you don't really want to take this early, generally speaking. It does have some nice synergies in the set with like artifact synergies, revolt. So it's definitely a role player, but I would usually not want to take it this early. Having it in the previous pack was not where we want it to be, generally speaking. So I would try to not take it this early. So for me, it would be garrison or specialist.
And when you make that decision, so we get it down to the same two cards. We're on the same page there. What would you use to push your decision over between these two?
Kind of evaluate the power level of both cards. If one card is clearly better, then I might take it even though it's in another color. If the power level is close enough, then I'll usually go for the safer pick that's more likely to end up in my deck, which would be the garrison. But here, I think the power level of the specialist is probably high enough that it's worth taking. And I mean, I don't usually take too much into consideration like the cards I'm passing for signaling purposes to the people I'm drafting with. And of course, we're drafting with bots now, so that's even less relevant.
Although I was watching one of Chris, I don't remember his last name, WOTC Chris somebody last night, who was about the lead of this, and he did say that there will be eventually player drafting. So
yep.
It's a good habit probably to get into, for me anyways, as a new person, to learn things like signaling.
Yep.
Okay, so you're kind of pushing a little bit for the specialist. I'm okay with either, so I like this card. So
yep,
I can grab a specialist. We're not necessarily stuck in black either. All right, so this is kind of a weak enchantment. What else do we have? The Dreadnought I find fairly weak. Looking through this, I mean, okay, we're not getting great picks here, are we? 3/3 for 4 is okay. The Crusher, I want to talk about that in just a second. First for return's okay. I again look at this and I don't see anything that stands out to me. What's this guy do? He's an okay 2/2 that sometimes will get you a 1/1. This is a early play but often dead card that just sits there because Crew 6 is crazy high. Crew 3 is doable, but a 6/6 versus a million tokens without trample is fairly not amazing. I guess it's an okay blocker, but often it doesn't see play. The Solvent's way too slow. The Herder is an alright 3/3 for 4, but again, this isn't, again, I guess Reach is okay. I don't know. I look at this and I see a bunch of crap.
Yeah, so for me, the Dreadnought is like the card you want to take if you want to build a meme deck full of the enchant vehicle cards that animate them. but otherwise it's not really consideration. But for me, the Crusher, from what I recall, because it's been a while since I've drafted this set, but Iron Tread Crusher has usually been pretty good for me. So I would probably take the Crusher here, just because, sure, Crew 3 is tricky, but a 6/6 for 4 mana is definitely above the curve. So
Okay.
I would tend to take the Crusher. Also, as you've mentioned, board stalls tend to happen pretty often in this format, from what I remember. So just having a 6/6 means that he's not often going to lose in combat. So
Okay.
that makes him pretty decent.
Yeah, I'd see him. The other one that appeals to me is the 2/2. The two that I look at the most here, the 2/2 are this
Yep,
guy.
the Renegade's definitely fine as well. And you already have the map to enable Revolt.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we've got another Crusher. What's this guy do? This guy's the throw artifacts at people. Improvise and Menace is all right for a 3/3. What's the Trophy Mage do? Artifact cost of converted 3 or less. That's okay. That gives a second. If we had good artifacts, that would be okay. 2/2 for 3 is all right with a second card attached to it. I don't think this is very good. Ally Evasion is just weak. Again, I see. I guess the logic would be Crusher again. By that logic, we're not going to play 2 though, probably. So maybe not that logic. This guy's all right for just a 1-drop. Sometimes buys you a little bit of time. He counts as an artifact. The Improvise Menace guy seems probably like the best creature on the board here for me, but this could also be good if we were running enough artifacts. We already have 2, although it doesn't get the second one. Thoughts?
Yep, those are all considerations. So the Crusher, I would at most play 2 copies, but as you've said, you usually don't want to have too many vehicles, since then you have the problem of too many vehicles, not enough creatures. But Crusher is still sort of defensible here. Trophy Mage on power level is probably the best card, just because it's kind of a 2-for-1 built in if you build your deck properly. And the Brawler is definitely very solid as well in red aggressive decks. Automaton's playable, but I wouldn't take it this early.
Okay.
So for me, it would be
You're seeing between these
either
3.
take a second Crusher or speculate on blue and take the Trophy Mage.
Okay, I think I'm happy. I don't really like the idea of 2 Crushers in the deck. I think I'm happy speculating on a Trophy Mage for now. And if we end up not doing any blue, so what? All right. The Revolution is not a good one. Ornithopter, Ally Evasion, Ether Inspector. The Swooper is pretty solid.
Yep.
That's the only one I see that I'm that excited about is the Swooper.
Yep. The Swooper's great, and now we're happy we picked the Trophy Mage.
Okay. Death Dismissal is removal, although kind of clunky removal, but still removal. 2/3 for 3 with an upside you'll never use is fine. Bridge Propeller I don't really like. Salvager I don't really like. Implement Combustion I really don't like. This guy is decent if we have some use for our energy. I would probably do the Death Dismissal because it's the only removal card here, and the rest are just mediocre creatures.
Yeah, like the Dismissal's okay, but usually like the more expensive your instant speed conditional removal is, the worse they get. So, if, for example, you have in some of the previous sets, you had the 4 mana, I think it was in Ixalan, 4 mana destroy attacking or blocking creature in white. That's kind of very similar to the Dismissal. And those cards I'm usually not a fan of, since if you're playing against an opponent that knows about it, then it can kind of make you waste your mana by not attacking into it. But as you said, removal's removal. Sometimes you just need to take the removal you get access to. So taking Dismissal is reasonable. I think the other pick would be the Assembler, just because you're probably always going to play it. It's a combo with Trophy Mage, since you can go get it, even though not the most exciting card to go get.
How are we feeling right now about, I mean, this is such a power card. We haven't seen another black card that we want yet, but this would only be the second white card we want, and it's not super high on our list. Are you tempted to grab the Assembler just because we're looking blue-black?
That's kind of why I would take the Assembler, because we're not really locked into white yet.
Okay, I could get behind that. I like the synergy with the card we just picked. All right, Gremlin Infestation is kind of conditional. It's actually not that bad. It does a lot of damage over time in like a slow format, I feel like, but I don't think it's anything near what we're going to pick up. These both seem bad. Consulate Turret seems pretty bad. Is it just me, or all of these packs been bad?
So yeah, these packs have been pretty weak.
I guess I would pick the creature?
Yeah, you could just take the creature to make sure you have enough. It does crew the Crusher as well, which is nice.
Although, colors again.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're hopefully going to play blue, And then we could play black, which would be nice to go with the expertise, but that's definitely not a lock. And then white is definitely not a lock. So at this point, we're mostly blue, hopefully. And our second color is still up for grabs, I would say. But taking the Enforcer would be fine. The Infestation also has some pretty high upside if you're playing the right matchup. But it could also be a dead card, so...
Okay. The Black Flyer or the Crawler. The Crawler is fairly weak. It looks like green was untouched if this card's come all the way around and this card's come all the way around. I don't really want to touch green myself, and I certainly don't. I mean, blue-green is okay, but not amazing. I guess I would take black and still don't know what the hell color I'm playing.
Yeah, I mean, this pick is probably not going to be too relevant. You could just take the Aeronaut as a speculative pick for black, just to maybe have enough playables if we do end up in black, and we do already have the map for Revolt.
Seems like an easy leave in the dust to me, although...
Yep. So blue definitely seems open if Leave in the Dust came this late, since I even would have considered picking it on the first time.
Yeah, that was our first pack, right?
Yep.
White creature, or this is never... I don't think I'm any world I play Renegade Getaway, so I guess the only playable card here is the Inspector. And
yeah, and it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay.
I do like me Resourceful Return, but there's also the Automaton, which is blue and playable, so it should probably just take it. It's a mana sink for when you're kind of flooding out in the late game. You can scry, make sure to find some action.
Okay. This is a non-issue. I take the blue, but we're never going to play it, so...
Yeah. It's more of a sideboard card.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, probably not getting
played.
played. Okay, so I see this pack is much more exciting when I look at this. Yep. I see 3 powerhouse cards. I have targeted removal. Seems super good in all formats. The 4/3 flyer that gives you life when you're racing is incredible. The Siphoner is super good early. Draws you cards, gets that going. Those are the 3 that really stand out. The secondary ones that pop out to me are the Bandar and the Mobile Garrison. I don't know what these cards do. I don't know what this card does at all.
Onslaught is okay. It's like if you've got big green creatures and kill stuff.
Okay. But we don't have big green creatures. We're not going green.
Nope.
How would you... This feels like a win condition. And this feels like premium removal. And I don't know how to choose between a win condition and premium removal. Do you believe in bombs first or removal first? Or do you is it more situational for our deck right now?
I would, at this spot, look at what we already have. Kind of try and fill in the holes our current deck has. So yeah, for me it would also be choosing between Aeronauts and Demolition. I think they're better than the Siphoner. Siphoner is great in Constructed, but if you don't have a turn 2 in draft, then it's not going to be amazing. And we also don't have a ton of energy synergies going on, so we can't draw the extra card if we're not attacking with it. So evaluating this pick. So if we take a look at the white cards, we've got Specialist, Enforcer, Inspector, which are all kind of replaceable cards, especially the Inspector's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're locked into white by any stretch. And in black, we get access to the Expertise, which is quite a bit better than any of our white cards.
Yeah.
And it would also give us an extra removal spell, which our deck is lacking. So I would probably hedge towards the Demolition here, since our black seems more powerful than our blue, or than our white.
I like that logic. I think I can get behind that. All right, let's grab the Demolition then. So looking through this, Thought Their Arrest is really strong. Of course, no logic of what we just had. Is it possible we don't end up playing blue?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. We don't have a ton of blue cards.
So I do get into this scenario from time to time, and is this just part of drafting? Or I always feel like I'm doing it wrong when I'm sitting here and we're like, we're only on the second pick of pack 2, so I guess we're not super far in yet. But
exactly.
But I feel like, yeah, go on.
We can still kind of dance around a little bit, but towards the middle of pack 2, we should have an idea which colors we are, hopefully. So at this point, I could still see jumping ship and go maybe black-white. But yeah, we don't want to waste too many more picks, so we'll have to be careful with our picks going forward.
All right, but it's Stop Their Arrest here, right? No way.
Yeah, it's by far the best card in the pack.
Yeah.
There's definitely some other playables, but I think I would be fine taking the Arrest here.
Even for other playables, I don't see too many. I see the 2/3 Alley Strangler as decent for us. I guess this guy is maybe on the low side of decent. And
I mean, the inventor can be okay. We've got a decent number of artifacts already, and 4 hexproof is pretty decent.
okay.
And the Dockhand's definitely also playable as a card advantage engine.
All right. So I see decommission in this format is okay, but it's often a dead card. The revolutionary seems really overpriced to me. Leaving the dust has been solid that I've played it, but it's not as flexible. The blink one that came out in the next set or one of the other sets seems a lot better to me. The poisoner is really solid in my opinion, just because of death touch. I would be tempted towards the poisoner here.
Yep, that was also my first instinct.
Okay. All right. Then grab it. Ooh. That's not bad. Another aeronaut might be a thing. I don't really love the card. It's kind of hard to get the counters on it, and even then 4 for 3/3 is good, but not amazing. I don't see anything else in this pack that's at all exciting though except these 2 cards. And I feel like that becomes a decision point between what colors are we playing.
Yeah. So for me, the Raider's way above the curve in terms of power level over the Aeronaut. And what we could also consider, we do have this one Renegade map, so we could always go blue-black and splash white for the Thopter arrest.
Okay.
That's definitely an option. Splashing for removal is always a good idea if you have enough mana fixing, since the Thopter arrest is only single white. And even if you draw the white mana late, it's still going to impact the game in a great way. So for me, it would probably be the improvised flyer here.
Okay, I can totally get behind that logic. I feel like this card is marginal compared to this card. Anyways, okay. All right, so disallow. I love disallow's card, but I think it's clunky in this format. Another trophy mage seems totally solid. It's another card advantage thing on a body, and we kind of need bodies. I don't see anything else that is interesting compared to those.
Yep, for me it's a pretty easy trophy mage. Okay. And then we have to kind of look for those 3 mana artifacts a bit more.
Wow.
Okay.
This card, I actually think I beat a player who played this card. This card is insane, first of all, against it. And this card is really strong.
Yep.
And I'm really surprised to see, and the swooper's quite good. I'm really surprised to see this all
and
here.
the reverse engineer too. This back's pretty great for us.
I don't even know what this card does. Oh, it's improvised draw 3. Okay, interesting. Yeah.
So
can I just pick 4?
Could make an argument for either one of these.
Yeah.
I think we don't want to get too greedy, and I don't think we take the Dark Intimation just because, I mean, if we're already going to splash white, if we take the Intimation, we kind of give up on the Thopter arrest, since I don't think we can splash both. So I would rather take a blue or black card here.
Okay, so I'm tempted. I want to talk about it. So just a second. Let me thank a sub. Thank you, Mad273, for the 33-month resub. Much appreciated. So when you look at these, I see all 3 of these were good. This is a cheap flyer. I don't feel like having 2 of these in the deck really helps above 1 necessarily. This card seems really strong to me, but we need to maybe draft a couple more artifacts. We're only running 2 right now, although we have the map, and this could be pretty solid on the map early.
And the Swooper also makes artifacts and
yes, that's
Poisoner
true.
as well.
Oh, I forgot about.
I think the Swooper does get better the more copies you have in a way, since let's say you have a Swooper in play, you play the second one, get to energy, then you get to attack with the first Swooper right away and get a token instead of having to wait a turn for it.
Sure, I guess that's fair.
Let's say you have both the Poisoner and the Swooper, then the Swooper can maybe still attack to make the token, while you may not want to be attacking with the Poisoner. So they do kind of synergize with each other a little bit.
Although I'm nervous of too many 1/2 flyers. There's a ton of 2/2 flyers. There's the Ospreys, the Hinterland Drakes. There's just a number of flyers out there in this format that are commons that are either 2/3, 3/2, or 2/2. So 1/1 flyers are not 1/2 flyers are a little bit scary for me. We have no buffs, no combat tricks. I can imagine scenarios where we draw this in the mid game or late game and it's totally dead.
Yep. I mean, one of the considerations as well is you kind of need a critical mass of kind of artifacts to enable the different improvised cards, since we did pick up the Windkin Raiders, which wants a few artifacts. If we pick up more improvised cards, we kind of need that critical mass. Okay. So that's also why the Swooper is sometimes important, since it does provide that one artifact that can make the difference.
Sure.
So on power level, Tezzeret Touch, of course, is a lot better than the Swooper if you can pull it off. But as you've said, we're pretty low on artifacts to go with it. So I'm a bit scared that if we take the touch and we don't end up with enough artifacts, and might not even make the main deck. While the swoopers, I think, always going to make my main deck.
Ooh, okay. So this is really the first one that we've disagreed on, and I'm totally happy to take your thought on it. But it's so weird to me to pass up a 5/5 for 3. Seems like if you ever get that scenario where it's map on 1 and Tezzer's touch on 3, you just win. Like 90% of the games for that. So, okay, I'll take the sweeper. Hope this comes around again, but I'm probably not really expecting it to.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough cards left.
How many is it? 8 that you draft against?
Yeah, so it's 8 people on one table.
Okay. So this seems like the only thing that it's not true. We decided we're black blue with maybe a little with like a splash for white with removal. So the implement of malice is actually not terrible. We want artifacts. This does trigger revolt stuff. It also lets us trigger improvise stuff. It also lets us get some card advantage at critical points. The Fen Hauler for improvise, the Crusher for just a solid blocker. We already have one. I'm actually leaning towards implement of malice here.
Yep, that works for me. Just a cheap enabler for the rest of our deck.
Okay. Seems kind of overpriced for what it does.
Yep.
Second Leave in the Dust is nice. Another artifact is nice. Artifact with tokens and life gain is okay. I would lean towards Leave in the Dust here, but I could be talked into the Automaton if you want.
Yeah, I would go for the Leave in the Dust, I think.
Okay.
Had we taken Tezzer's Touch, then I would maybe lean towards the Automaton instead to
Okay.
have that cheap artifact to enchant.
All right. Oh, this one's a nice one for us. Oh, I don't know. Expensive, though, but you get 2 out of it.
Yeah, and it does go well with the trophy mages as well. So
Okay.
I think that's probably upside enough.
You want the Inventor? We have a fair number of
Yep,
artifacts.
I think
Yep.
now that we took the kind of enabling cards like the Swooper, we get to kind of take the more expensive card now.
Sounds good. Ooh, third Leave in the Dust, second Inventor, or first Reservoir Walker. I don't even see the fourth Bridge Prowler as playable, but maybe.
Nah,
I don't really want a second one of these. I don't really want
the
a third.
Prowler would be the Prowler would be an okay sideboard card, but given that it's best out of 1, I don't think it's a consideration. And yeah, I'm not sure what to take here.
Are you worried by the fact we only have 1 2-drop creature? Because I'm
I mean,
really
we have
worried about that.
The Swoopers, right?
Oh, the Swoopers. That's true. Sorry, I missed those. Yep. I don't know what to take out of these. I don't know that 3 of these are playable. I don't know that 2 of those are playable, and I don't. This card maybe. I guess I would look at that and say maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we do have the 3 kind of energy creatures to go with it, so we do have a little bit of synergy with it. And I mean, the Walker is like begrudgingly playable, I think. So I would be okay taking it just to have some more diversity, since I doubt we play 3 Leave in the Dust. And the second Inventor, when we already have the Windkin Raider, seems like a bit much on the top end.
Okay. I'd take Conviction here.
Yeah,
these aren't
probably
playable.
not gonna play any of these, but
Maybe. I mean, we have 1 hexproof creature now.
yeah, I don't see myself really splashing the Conviction is a thing.
Oh, right, it's white. I totally forgot. Yep, no, I wouldn't splash that either. Okay, I'll grab the negate, but we're not playing it, so.
All the negates.
Yeah. Okay, this one is interesting. That's tempo. I don't really feel like we have a tempo-oriented deck, so it doesn't feel very useful for us. Fabricate Menace seems okay. What does this card do? That card's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very good card.
Looking at the rest of this, this is a wall that does trigger all of our improvised stuff, has reach. That might actually be relevant. I hate drafting a wall as my first pick out of this, but I don't see a lot in this pack for us again.
Yeah, for me, it's the Ether Theorist first, and then maybe followed by the Malphus squad, and then followed by the Skygate.
What's your thought process on why? So just this is a 2-drop.
So
we need
just
2 drops and a blocker.
Exactly, we need
okay.
2-drop. It synergizes with our other energy cards. The Scry one's definitely great, and yeah, just a good curve filler. Then the Malphus squad is just an okay card by itself. Small artifact synergies as well with Fabricate. But my concern with the Malphus squad is that we have a lot of 4-drops already, so I don't want to take too many of them.
Okay.
So I just would take the curve pick here, which is the Theorist, which I think on power level is also just better than the Malphus squad.
Sounds good. Okay, this card is absolutely incredible. Too bad it's not in our colors. This card has seemed fairly good for me in the decks I've seen it played in, but feels tempo oriented again. If you can keep attacking away with that, great. Otherwise, it's a huge downside. That's conditional. That's kind of mediocre. That's mediocre. Excuse me. Combat trick. That's really strong removal. Don't know that card. Untap all non-land permanents you control. Whatever. That's weak. The bat's playable but not great. The broker is a decent 3-drop creature. This seems to me an easy pick for revoke privileges.
Yep. So the only concern with revoke privileges right now is that we only have the map for fixing. But I mean, one map plus like 2 planes and playing privileges plus Thopterus is definitely still fine. But if we could pick up another way of fixing our mana, that would be great as well. But
Okay.
yeah, for me, indeed, it's revoke privileges, but I wouldn't mind wheeling the Screecher or the Broker,
Okay.
since they're good curve fillers too.
All right. I suppose that probably means we don't want a third 3-drop removal for whites unless we can fix something. That card's been very good to me. This card's been surprisingly decent. And the rest really are not our colors or anything else we can do. So I guess the self-assembler is okay, but you really want multiples of these, right, for it to be useful.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think this is great in the Aether Vault format. When it was like triple Kaladesh, then the self-assembler would be okay.
I guess I would
But
take Live Fast here. We have some other synergies for generating these and using them.
yeah, so this is actually a pretty tough pick. So the best card on power level is the Skywheeler shot, I think.
Yeah.
Just because we are not super high on removal, and it's an instant speed one that deals with the most problematic creatures.
And to be fair,
But
that would
yeah,
probably sit in our hand until we need it for the highest level creatures. So
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, also looking at the curve of our deck, we do have double Trophy Mage, which already provides a bit of card advantage. We have the blue Implement, which already draws us some cards.
and the black
So it's
one.
not like we really need the effect from Live Fast all that much, even though it does go well with our energy sub-theme that we have going on. And I definitely wouldn't mind the Live Fast. But yeah, I might be tempted to take the shot anyways here.
Okay.
And then really be on the lookout for one more way of fixing mana.
I can get behind that. I think removal is super good in general. So what does this card do? Can't be blocked creatures powerless to 2. That's pretty interesting. That's really strong actually. But clearly not for us. I'd take the 3/4 creature and be happy about it, quite honestly.
I think the P-File also deserves some credit here for mana 2 for Artifact, and we can give it flying for just a single blue. So that card is definitely also pretty solid, just because, I mean, a 2/4 versus a 3/4 is not a huge difference, but being an Artifact is relevant, and of course flying in the late game is pretty great too.
I can be talked
So
into that. I
I
didn't
would
even see
take the
this.
P-File over the security.
Okay. I can get behind that. I like our artifact stuff.
Ooh.
That's
Hello?
fucking insane. I guess 2/2 for 5 is a little bit slow.
I mean, there's not much else though.
Yeah.
I don't think we want a Gauntlet in this deck.
This guy's terrible. Well, maybe. I mean, our creatures are all fairly weak. I don't really like 2/0 for non-flyers as a thing. Yeah, I could get behind this. I feel like
Yeah.
that draw is nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Man, we really want the 2-mana artifact that fixes our mana now.
Yo, it's white again. Fuck, I didn't. Yeah, I keep missing that. For some reason, I have it in my head we're playing a white deck, but we really are not. Either of these seem to be what I'm picking up. What does this thing do?
I think I'd go with this creature here.
This creature over just because of the flying.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 for a 3/1 is decent for a flyer. Scrying. This is a really solid card. Too bad it's white. What does this do? That's garbage. Subtle Strike is... Oh, Subtle Strike
is a decent trick as well, yeah.
Yeah. I would take the Subtle Strike here and not be at all sad about it.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow. Those are some cards.
Yeah.
The summonings, I don't think is really for us. Do need a lot of instants and sorceries to make it good.
Yeah.
But the Gearseeker Serpent is quite a powerful card as well.
Yeah,
It's
it gets through at the
like an
end.
improvised card, but for free in a way.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it has good synergy with our deck too. And we're desperately missing some way to kill them, and that might be it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
the rest of this is just terrible.
yeah, we're not gonna get our mana fixing, sadly.
So I'm going to take this, I guess. So we're not playing any of them, right?
Nope.
And probably blues of some sort here. These are all garbage, though.
Yeah, probably not playing any of those.
Yep. Are there any uncommons here? Doesn't look like it. Is there any way any of these make it in? Maybe that makes it in. Good a combat trick.
Could take the turtle.
Turtle's fine. This card's good, but I guess we're taking this.
Yeah.
I'm not playing it, though. Well, I'm thoroughly unexcited. That last one is okay. Thoroughly unexcited by this deck.
I mean, it's got some powerful cards. We did end up with a good amount of removal if you consider the white splash, and we have a lot of card draw with like Cloud Blazer, card advantage from Trophy Mages, the Implement, and I do like all the Ether 2-drops as well. The only issue is I would have liked to pick up something to fix our mana more, to make sure that the white splash is a little better, since we're also playing all those double black cards. The double black cards plus a white splash can get a little peculiar.
Yeah, I'm worried about our mana too, and nothing's quite as shitty in this game as sitting on not having mana to do what you need to do, one way or the other. I'm just pulling out. I'm trying to pull out the very clear, like, get them out of our decks. This is so bad. Why did you draft it? Style stuff versus the stuff we're gonna make decisions about. So then we can talk about decisions. As I also struggle a little bit there, I think. Okay, I think I have the clear, like, get the fuck out, which is surprising because we have a fair. We still need another 7 cards realistically out of this, right? Okay, so we really want the Renegade map. We really want mana fixing, and that's going to be super good for that. Thriving Turtle is kind of on the maybe right now. I don't mind early stuff right now. The Swoopers are definitely yeses. I guess we could do it in this mode. Hold on, this is maybe not the best mode to do it in. The Swoopers are definitely yeses. The Theorist is a yes. The Poisoner's a yes. Implement of Malice is a maybe. Is there a way to make another row?
I don't think so, no. This view annoys me because you kind of only see half of your deck, but it's the best way to see your curve.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to just move.
What you can also do is if you go on the deck stats button in the top right, beneath the name, if you click there, you can kind of hover over the curve and you can still see the names of the cards. So if you know what the cards do, then that's a way to kind of see the curve laid out as well.
Okay. So what are we looking for? Actually, I don't know the answer to this. I've never heard anyone say one or the other. What are you looking for when you're looking for a curve?
I mean, it really depends on the format. Some formats are super fast and you just need 2 drops to block with. Otherwise, you die by turn 5. Other formats are a bit slower and you can kind of take your time, and 2 drops aren't as important. Don't quite remember how this format was in terms of speed. But, I mean, if you see all those improvised cards, there's usually a few turns where people are setting up to then play their powerful synergy cards. So it's probably not going to be a format where you need all the 2 drops you can get your hands on. So I think in terms of 2 drops, we're probably fine.
Okay. Welcome, Adamant MTG. Hey, man. Saw me last night when we were chatting in the chat. Thanks for coming and check it out. All right. So how do I get out of this? There we go. Okay. So we're looking down through that. I think our twos are all very strong. I'm very tempted to keep them all. This card, I could see not make. I'm throwing the cards.
Cuttable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Throwing cards over there. We need to cut 7, and I'm looking just for that. Is there a way to reset this? No. If I go in and out, does it reset it?
No.
All right. So these are permanent changes we're making to our deck, and these are the cards I just want to draw later, because that's how this works in this screen. I can control the timing. This card seems okay to me.
Yeah, I mean, the Blade Master is a little unexciting, and I think we have too many 3 drops already, so I would consider cutting the Blade Master.
We don't actually have a lot of 3s that we play, right? When I'm thinking of creatures, we have. So let's say they challenge the board with like a 2/2 or something on 2, right? Our 3 drops are really nothing. We have the Screecher, who we don't want to be trading for ground 2/2s. We have the Trophy Mage, who trades but trades down. I mean, gives us a creature, so that's something. The only 3 that really does any sort of efficient work is the assembler, surprisingly. All of this is all of our white removal are 3s, and then the implements are 3.
Yeah. So if you were looking at the deck in terms of like curve, then the white 3-drops would not really be in the 3-drop
Yeah, exactly.
usually, since you might not have the white mana by then.
Yeah,
So they're more like 5 and 6-drops.
Yep, that's what I'm seeing them as, anyways. I have a hard time imagining we're gonna get this guy to play, but he has a flyer.
The aeronaut seems pretty bad.
Okay. I feel like the Peacock actually might be an MVP here. It might actually save us from flyers.
And also it's colorless, so we're always going to be able to cast it.
It's going to be so hard to crew this Crusher. You have
like
1 3-drop. Like 1 3 attack, like nothing.
The bat is the Foundry's creature is a nice combo with it as well.
Yes. And the Reservoir Walker is actually okay for it as well. But like nothing else. Do we keep it? Like I would be, this is on my maybe again.
Yep, that's definitely a maybe.
I'm feeling like the life gain on 5 is actually relevant, and we need 2 more. What is this? That's 6. And I pulled both the implements over there, but I actually like implements, so I am at a bit of a loss what to get out here.
I think I would definitely play the 3-drop implement just to have a second card we can grab with Trophy Mage.
Okay.
Since if we only have the Assembler, then if we draw the Assembler and then draw Trophy Mage, it's kind of a bad card.
Okay. Oh, I see. For the other, is it only 3 or 3 or less? It's directly 3. Okay, yep. So that is interesting. I thought it was 3 or less, so I thought we could pull map. We can't. Welcome, Edgy Squeaker 420. Thanks for the sub. Welcome to the channel. Watching me learn Magic with the pros. Are you a pro Magic player by chance?
I'm a bronze pro. Don't know if that qualifies as a pro.
Yes, we're not gonna put conditional. We're not gonna put qualifiers on that. That's a pro. Yep, we're learning Magic with the pros. That's what we're doing today. So we need 2 more from these. I definitely like all of these cuts except potentially the Implement of Malice. And the Turtle I'm a little hesitant on, but mostly the Implement of Malice. If I can see these 5 going, I'm actually going to pull them out except the Implement of Malice. It's the only one I'm not entirely certain
about.
What
I like about the Implement of Malice is that it speeds up or improvise and the Gear Seeker Serpent by a turn, which can definitely be relevant since we're kind of lacking in the early creature department. So just being able to land one of those improvise cards a turn earlier can make the difference.
Yeah.
So that's why the Implement of Malice could be pretty good, actually.
I am thinking this guy maybe needs to go. We've got 2 big guys over here already. We can get a little top heavy with that. It does have improvise, which is nice, but 4/4 is not that big of a big guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's an okay size, I would say, but definitely not impressive.
So we're still needing at least 3. Where are you leaning towards?
So this is tricky. I'm mostly concerned about the mana situation right now, since there's 3 white or 4 white cards, and then the Daring Demolition and Yahanni's Expertise are not gonna be best friends. But we do have a little bit of card draw, and we do have the Renegade map, so maybe it's still fine.
We actually have a fair amount of card draw between the Trophy Mages removing. I'm annoyed this doesn't pull the map, because I've been thinking the entire time this would pull 3 or less, but we could pull map to fix. So that's a little bit disconcerting. But between the Trophy Mages pulling 2, we're going to get the Assembler. Between the Implement of Malice drawing for us if we put that in, between the Implement of Examination drawing twice, between the Leave in the Dust drawing 2.
And we also have the Ether Theorist to scry and look for the planes, so...
Yeah, there's a fair amount of ability to draw or influence it, although it's all fairly slow drawing and influencing.
Yep. So we're definitely going to be in trouble against a fast deck, unless we can somehow get them with the Yahanni's Expertise.
Is there a thought then to maybe put Turtle in and slow him down?
Yep, that's definitely reasonable.
So we still got to cut cards. We found one to add, so we need to now remove 4.
I might cut the Bastion Inventor now.
Bastion Inventor.
The 6-drop, the improvise guy.
Okay,
4/4
I'm good with that. I think he's for me one of the weaker ones remaining. This seems like these 2 seem like win conditions, and he just feels like he is a creature and a big one that we can maybe get out faster, but not a win condition.
Yep.
How are you feeling about Cloudblazer?
Yeah, so Cloudblazer is a great card. On the splash, it's still reasonable, but we are splashing quite a few cards. It pains me to have to cut the Cloudblazer, so I'm tempted to still keep it, but of course we do still need to find something to cut.
Yeah, still need to find a couple somethings to cut.
I
I'm a
mean,
little
this
worried too
this might
about.
just be like a triple plains deck, just to make sure we can play our white cards,
We're gonna start running
and
into
then
some
our mana
serious
base is
troubles
just
with
gonna
that then.
be, yeah, our mana base is gonna be ugly.
Because these are double black, so our 2 removal and black are double black. All of our white removal is white. We don't have any white mana fixers. So I guess in that sense, the artifacts are looking really powerful because we don't have to worry about
Exactly.
coloring with that.
So also the 3-drop automaton, the one that scries in blue.
Thinking that maybe is in too.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Well, we added in our quest to cut 2, we added 3. So we're gonna just take a quick second break here, guys. I'm just gonna. My wife's playing music, and I don't want that happening on my YouTube video. So I'll be back in just a second. Close some doors. Let you think about that for a second. Okay, so I don't know how to proceed here.
Yeah, so I would consider cutting the Blade Master if we're gonna add the automaton, just because I think if we're gonna have a 3-drop, then I would rather have one than that synergizes with some of our other cards and that we can always cast and also get with Trophy Mage.
Okay,
Um,
I can get behind that. I generally prefer 2/3 body to a 2/2 body. Surprise, surprise. I like 2/3 as a stat in this game.
yeah, I mean, it could be crazy, but we could even consider cutting the 2 double black cards and just going more with a lighter black component, or maybe
God,
even cutting black altogether.
it's too really. All of our we have our black is a death tech creature, a flying creature, and 3 removal. Or, well, this is kind of combat trick and 2 removal. That
Yeah,
seems crazy to cut.
yeah. I mean, something's got to go.
Yeah. How's Implement of Malice sounding to you? I'm thinking that might be a goodbye.
Yeah, that's definitely okay to cut, I think.
Okay. What am I looking for? I want to switch over to the other view. Still missing 2.
Yep.
Cloud Blazer's looking weak to me.
And I think this is a 17 land plus Renegade map deck. Often Renegade map you can kind of count as a land and replace your 17th land with it, but in this deck, I think we're just gonna need our mana sources. So this is, I think, a 17 land plus Renegade map.
How do you feel
For the
about 2
record.
Leave the Dust?
Yeah, one's definitely also cuttable. The main reason to keep it is because it does draw us a card and slow down the opponent while being single blue, so it is kind of a card we can count on being able to cast on turn 4, but it's definitely cuttable.
Trophy Mages seem like they're going to get high value out of this. All this stuff seems like high value. I don't think I can cut anything in here, including the Implement of Examination. I feel like draw is going to save us on our mana fixing. I don't feel like any of the 2s can go. So I guess it really becomes the Reservoir Walker is a little bit overpriced, although we have lots of use out of that, or the Cloud Blazer. And I guess I'm moving the cut pile to over here since we have a 1-drop. But if I look at it that way, we need 2 of these to go, and one of them could be a Leave in the Dust. So we need 2 of these 3 here to go. What are you thinking of those? I don't know why that.
Something else we could consider is if we cut the Cloud Blazer and then cut another of the white 3-drops, then we can only play 2. Then we could get away with only playing 2 planes and the Renegade map for white fixing, and that might make our black cards better, since then double black's going to be more realistic.
Well,
So that's
double
something else I'm
black
considering.
is almost. Double black is almost equal to. I mean, this removal, this card's very strong, but these 2 cards here are almost equal to 2 of these cards. So cutting 2 white removal to make our 2 black removal slightly stronger doesn't seem super strong to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the problem, since some of our black cards are also like 2 and 3 drops, which we want to play early. So if we
Is it
end up
possible we cut
with
this card? Oh, this is actually.
yeah,
Actually, that has really good synergy with having white drops in our hand that we don't have planes for.
yeah, that's true. Although I don't think you want to build your deck with that in mind, but it's a cool synergy, I guess.
I guess probably not. I guess we're never going to want a -3 versus 3 and then also remove
I
another
mean, we
creature.
might like Thopter arrest the vehicle or something.
I guess what I'm wondering is it maybe this might play around one of our issues with having double black mana. This card is a sorcery and situational, so we might be in a position where we have creatures out and don't want a -3/-3. What 3-drops are we playing? We've got a lot of colorless ones and a couple 1-drop blues, and then all the rest is white removal. So I could see areas in which this doesn't get play.
Yep. definitely.
All right, then I think I'm tossing the expertise. We need to toss one more card out of these. I would like to hold on to Cloud Blazer, I think. I could see this winning us a game.
Yep.
And I think I want at least one to leave in dust, probably two. I think I'm looking toward the Reservoir Walker.
It's definitely cuttable.
Okay. So that was the hardest decisions I've ever had to make a 40 card deck. All right.
Yeah.
What do we want from mana distribution here?
So I think at most 3 planes with the Renegade map.
Okay.
And then
We need more swamps.
so if we
than
want to
3.
play double black cards, yeah, we're gonna need a few more swamps in there. 10 islands is probably too many.
Yeah, I think so
Can
too.
probably get away with 8.
Okay. So you're looking, this is 13, 16. So you're looking at like that maybe?
Yeah,
17?
something like that looks reasonable to me.
8 islands. All of our, so 2 of our 2-drops are 1-drop. Both of our 2 of our 2-drops, 3 of our 2-drops are all blue. I'm a little hesitant to drop down to 8. I kind of am looking at 5, 9, but I'll take your advice on this. Do you have any rules of thumb, heuristics, anything like that for deciding on land distribution?
I mean, yeah, it's usually a little bit of, I don't know, a bit with feeling, I guess, but usually in like a 2-color deck, where you have lots of 2-drops in each color, then a mana base that's like 9/8 is usually the norm.
Mm-hmm.
So 8 islands is not a stretch, I don't think.
Okay. All right. Let's try it then. What are you predicting this deck goes? 5?
So we don't have any Renegade Freighters, which is kind of a pretty good card that gets a lot of free wins, but I guess it's in Kaladesh, so you don't see those as much as in triple Kaladesh.
I
we
lose
have good
all the time
removal.
to that the 1/1 token generator that is a white, black, and scries. I lose to that like half the time in this
Oh yeah.
draft.
I mean, if we get our mana online and we don't get like aggroed out, then I think our deck is quite good since we do have some pretty nice late game tools. So I would guess like at least 5 wins.
At least 5. All right, we're gonna call this 5+ with legend. D like that, right? All right. Okay, so now it's just up to player error to decide this, right?
Yep, pretty much. I mean, the shuffler also wants a word, but
Yeah. So anything you think about particularly when